Okay, so this next video is called Objection Obliteration. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you exactly how to overcome some of the common objections that you're going to get in your business, okay? And a lot of you guys are hearing things like, I don't have enough time, or you're hearing things like, I don't have enough money. Those are the two most common ones. And then sometimes you hear things like, oh, I gotta ask my spouse, or you'll even hear some crazy stuff. Sometimes it's true, but it's pretty out there, right? Like you'll hear somebody like, oh, I've been in the hospital, or my dog just died, right? You'll hear a lot of crazy excuses. It's true, and I'm sure many of you can relate to that. But you're wondering, and you're kind of hitting your head against the wall thinking, man, all these people have all these excuses, and I'm not really getting through to people, and people aren't seeing the value in my opportunity or my product or service. Well, this video is definitely going to help you with overcoming objections. I'm going to teach you a couple of very, very powerful techniques that work in pretty much overcoming any objection. But the first thing you need to realize with objections is that if you're getting a lot of objections, chances are you haven't built enough value before you ask for the business, okay? So you need to make sure that you're addressing all of your prospects' questions, okay, or all of your future customers' questions. So making sure that you've addressed all their questions and built enough value so you've clearly explained what your opportunity or what your product or service offers them and how it solves the problem that they're having in their life. And if you've clearly done that, then there really shouldn't be any objections. But if they have further questions, make sure you answer them, okay? But let's say that you've done all that, right? And you're saying, hey, Sean, I've done all that already. What else can I do to overcome these objections? I've built great value. I've built a good relationship. I made that 5-minute friend that you talked about, but they're still not willing to go over the edge. And let me tell you this right now. If you've dedicated a certain amount of time with them, chances are, if you've dedicated, 2 or 3 follow-ups already, you need to just push them away, okay? Because they're not serious about it right now. They're not in what's called the looking zone, okay? They're not looking for an opportunity right now, okay? So you need to just push those people away. But if you're coming up with an objection the very first time you talk to somebody or the second time you talk to them after your follow-up, but you can tell that they're a good fit for it, this is definitely going to work for you. So the very first technique I want to teach you is something called feel, felt, found. Okay? Feel, felt, found. And this is how it works. And I'm going to explain it to you in context, and then I'm going to show you an example of application of how it works. Okay? So this is how I feel, felt, found works. So someone gives you an objection. For example, I get a lot of people that come to me, prospects that say, oh, I'm not really sure, how it would work for me, or if I'd be as successful, or if I'll be successful with this. And how I would follow up is say this, okay, I would do feel, felt, found. Let's say their name is John in this example. So I would say, John, I completely understand where you're coming from. I understand how you feel. So boom, right there, number one is you're acknowledging how they feel, right? So I understand how you feel, John. I used to feel the same way when I very first started. I didn't know if I could make as much money as my mentor, but what I found was that through this training and through the mentorship, they've lived up to everything they said. And I just worked this training day in and day out, and it's really worked for me. And I'm actually in a position now to make thousands of dollars a week in my business. Okay, so let me recap that for you. You heard the feel, the felt, and the found, okay? So, number one, I understand how you feel. So you're acknowledging how they feel. And you'd like to use their name too, okay? Because you want to make it personal. You want them to know that you really do understand that you're connecting with them. So John, I understand how you feel. A lot, or you could say, I felt the same way, and give them an example of how you felt the same way. So again, you're relating to them. Or you can say, a lot of people that have come to me have felt the same way, right? But what they found, so as a result of what we found, in conclusion, right? This is the positive, right? This is where you reinforce all the value. You say, what we found is that, through all this training, it covers everything that you really need to know. And if you get on board right now, we'll be able to mentor you one-on-one, and we'll get you paid as soon as next Friday. So boom, I even threw a little bit of urgency in there, right? Which is always nice. So that's pretty much number one, it's reassuring them. Number two, you're relating to them on a deeper level. And number three, they know that you felt that way before and that other people have felt that way too. But because of your opportunity, because of the training or whatever you guys offer, right, product or service, that you're able to help them. And then the result was that, positive things happen. So once they hear that, they get a little bit of reassurance and they feel a whole lot better about the opportunity, okay? So that's very powerful. Feel, felt, found. I understand how you feel. Others have felt the same way, but this is what we found out, right? So feel, felt, found. Okay, so that's a very powerful way to handle objections. So if you come up with some objections, try that sometime. Feel, felt, found, and feel free to Google it too. There's a lot of information on it. It's been around for a very long time, and you might get a different perspective too. So, okay, so feel, felt, found. Another one that's very common in handling objections is the relatability approach. And the relatability approach is very simple, okay? A lot of times people get overwhelmed when you're talking about the opportunity. They feel like they're under pressure. So what I like to do is I just like to remind them of a pain point or a pleasure point. It's very simple. So you can remind them of the reason why, they need your opportunity. So basically the number one thing that they said that they needed to work on. So let's say they need to make more money. So I tell them, hey, look, you said the number one thing that you needed was more money to pay the bills. And then explain your story a little bit to them. Remind them of your story and where you started from and where you're at today. So again, it's basically the same thing. You're relating to them and then you're showing them the results of what you found through your opportunity, okay? So that's number one. You can focus on their problem and how you provide the solution. Or you can focus on the pleasure point, which is, let's say, for example, like I used in the last video, was, talking about them wanting to travel, right? So you could say, hey, you mentioned you wanted to travel. Well, after you looked at all these benefits, don't you think that these benefits would really, really help you out in terms of travel with all the discounts and everything that's offered? Yes, right? And we're getting them on the yes train too. You can implement all of these things in your strategy. That's the cool part. So what we talked about last time with the yes train, and then you can implement feel, felt, found, and relatability factors. So you could say, don't you see the benefits being of value to you if you want to travel, right? And wouldn't it be nice to have the money to be able to travel and the freedom, working from your laptop or smartphone, making anywhere from $500 to $2,000 a week? Don't you think that would really help you, being able to travel on a global scale, actually visit the places you want to go instead of being stuck in your job and not even getting paid for vacation time? Just relate to them, right? Relate to them and explain to them, how you can help them accomplish that pleasure point, right? How you can get them, where they want to be. Okay, so those are two very good strategies that work. Feel, felt, found, and then the relatability factor, okay? Or just offering them a positive spin on what they've been talking to you about. And remember to just reinforce what they've said and reminding them that that's what they brought up to you, right? It was their idea, right? It was their problem or it was their goal that they wanted to accomplish. And just approach it as I want to say customer service or a doctor diagnosing a problem, right? You're there to help them, okay? And when you have a genuine interest in helping them and it shows, it's going to make a world of difference, guys. So when you apply these, just make sure that you come across as genuine and helpful, because people want to know that you're there, you understand, you care about them, and that you truly want them to succeed. And you can get passionate about this. Don't be afraid to get passionate when you handle objections, right? I mean, if you truly believe in what you're doing, and that's what the power of this is your belief. Right? Your ability to overcome objections will be defined by your belief in your opportunity, your product, or your service. If you believe in what you're doing and you handle that objection with that same belief, I promise you that 99% of the people that talk to you are going to want to join your opportunity. Whether or not they can, that's a different story. But 99% of the people are going to want to join your opportunity. If you have the enthusiasm and the belief behind it, anything is possible when handling objections and getting people on board in your business. So that's it for this objections video. And in the next video, I'm going to be covering some great topics. So be sure to join me on that next video.